And we are live, I think. People are joining.
Yeah, I have to admit, some people
I see some of my connections, so welcome everybody.
Great to see you all.
Sebastian, can you go to the first slide, please?
Happy to see you. If you want, on the left side, you see below the buttons, and in the middle there's the chat. If you can share the location that you're based, you can say hi, you can shortly.
Yeah, last time event we did, we had a very international audience, so just wondering where everybody's from. So I see Doetinchem, Amsterdam, Alkmaar, Amsterdam, so quite Dutch. Wageningen, Delft, Austria.
Yeah, nice.
Really nice. Germany, Switzerland, Geneva, Italy. Great. Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
Most of them, I think 80% is from the Netherlands, but there's Montreal, Canada.
Good morning.
Great. Is it good morning, Canada? Really, Stefan? Yeah.
It's really good morning.
Perfect. So welcome everyone. I think we can start, Stefan. We're up to 50 people. There might be coming some more people. I think 85 people actually joined this call, so very happy with that. And I see people joining in. Romania also in, welcome, Daniela from Romania. But welcome to the Boost the SDG Ecosystem event that me and Stefan organized for you guys. And the hashtag, as you can read here, is Inspire1Million. Maybe you, Stefan, can explain why the hashtag is Inspire1Million.
Yeah, the great thing about achieving the goals is that it's not about the me, it's all about the we. And for this element, if we inspire 1 million, we can really make impact and progress to reach the SDG goals. So that's the reason why the greatest gift you can always give is inspiration to someone. So that's the reason why we chose for Inspire 1 million. So happy to join you. Happy that you join us on this great event.
Great. And I think we have 50 participants. So if I do a quick calculation, if we all inspire 2,000 people individually, we might reach those 1 million, right?
Nice.
Yeah. But before we go into the program, I think it would be good if we introduce ourselves together, because maybe we can start with you, Stefan.
Okay. Hi. My name is Stefan Bosman. I'm 51 years old. I'm an entrepreneur, and I really strongly believe that it's all about making connections and engaging. Like I mentioned already, inspiring 1 million is our main goal, purpose. For me, it's all about the we must become bigger than the me. So we changed the whole ecosystem to do things together instead of myself or the I is getting richer. Inspiration is a gift of something new for a person that you can give, and everybody can open the gift at the time that they need it. I'm the founder of Boost Your Startup. What we do mainly is to focus on helping purpose and impact-driven startups to grow, to create traction, and to help them with funding and to match them with corporations. So we build a whole ecosystem around startups with great collaborations and energy. So that's mainly what I do, Michael.
Great. And great to host this event together with you, Stefan. My name is Michael. I'm 35 years old. I'm a father of a son, and I'm currently in Almelo, which is quite far from my home place. I actually live in Hoek van Holland, if you guys care. And I work for febr. And we at febr, we help organizations to accelerate towards a circular economy. We do that by trying to tap into people's sustainable behavior, by formulating ambitions, strong circular ambitions, and by making calculations and gamification. So those are some of the tools that we have at fvr to help our clients, and those are big corporates, but also small municipalities. And we always try to, well, at least I always try to incorporate startups into my projects that I work with, because I strongly believe in the power of disruptive innovation of startups and scale-ups. I have a background in facility management for 10 years, and I worked for a big corporate called Sodexo for 10 years as an innovation manager. So I know the struggles of acquiring good solutions for sustainable problems. And we have a big problem in the world because at this point, we are seeing that if we keep up this pace, we're not going to reach our SDGs, our Sustainable Development Goals in 2030. So we need to act now. We need to think bigger, and we need to accelerate. And that's why we need to connect corporate challenges to scale up and startup solutions. And well, we add investors to that, and we add government to that, to make a whole ecosystem to make that work. And that's what actually Boost the SDG ecosystem is all about, making those connections and making sure that we accelerate on those solutions that are already present or being thought up. So very happy to host this event together with you guys.
Yeah, great. Let's start up and introduce the first speaker. We have 4 great speakers in this session. All have a different angle. How to engage and connect. Pieter van Osch, our first speaker, is in his 15-minute talk. You will learn how to practically support your SDGs in a daily business using scaling up framework. Pieter.
Thank you very much, Stefan.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you shortly introduce yourself?
Of course. My name is Pieter van Osch. I'm actually a world citizen, as I call myself. I'm by origin Dutch, but grew up in Switzerland and England, and I'm currently in Sweden. But more importantly, I'm an entrepreneur, and I help successful scale-ups to become more social or do good. And I do that with a tooling set which is called Scaling Up. And this is where I would like to add. Can I immediately go further, Stefan?
No. We'll just chat and introduce you, and then we go further.
Okay, cool.
I personally know you. You also coached me and helping with roughly a system from that time to grow fast. So what's your mission this year on to make impact?
My mission this year, or my mission in general, is that we want to activate 2025 companies or teams up to 2025 to solve problems in the society. So not spot opportunities in the market, but to fix holes in society. And okay. And this is what we would like to do.
Great. We're really curious about your presentation, so you may lead. Do you know the system below the share screen that you can take over the Zoom?
Let's see whether it works.
Yeah.
It seems to work.
Yes.
Cool.
If you put it full screen, then would be perfect.
Yeah. So my presentation is about SDG powered scaling up. So I believe the scale ups are really entrepreneurs. Scaling up are really making a dent in the universe because they can ignite, spark change. And change is necessary to solve all the things that are wrong in the world, but not all the change, particularly change for a better world. And SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, are really great for that. Because it covers almost every area where we as humanity need to contribute. And there is a deadline, 2030. So 8 years to go. Talking to all the scale-up entrepreneurs, I also noticed that there is a little problem with the SDGs. They are just too abstract and too far-fetched. So how can you execute on the SDG of your choice, but then start right now? And this is why we brought together 3 tooling sets. One is obviously scaling up, and I would like to start with that. And scaling up is about 4 decisions to be made. And why this is relevant, I'll tell you. It is all about strategy. Strategy is doing the things right and doing the right things. And obviously, choosing SDGs is part of the strategy. Then you need people. People is all about the right people in the right seat at the right moment. And you need people to get the strategy done. And the doing of the strategy is in execution. And execution is all about doing the things right. So with the right people in the right seat, doing at the right moment, doing the right things, doing the things right, wow, that leads to profit. And profit you need to get your impact done. Otherwise, it is just a dream and no impact. And here we see the disconnect, because the SDGs come also in the impact. And impact is, I think, a manifested strategy. It's like we have an idea, and there are, by the way, so many entrepreneurs with an idea and no execution at all. We have an idea and we want to execute. So the biggest disconnect is, okay, from this strategy, how can we really make an impact on the SDGs? Because scaling up is a tooling set. The other tooling set, obviously, is SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. So to make it very practical, let's take a case which we worked on. That is an organization in a 1 billion plus people economy. So this is not the Netherlands. You have guessed that. That's only 17 million. I think I should have checked that. I think there is only a very few countries in the world that have 1 billion people. 2, I see Giles, 2. India is one of them, and which is the other? I'll see. What they do, this organization, is giving disadvantaged youth a path to professional jobs. So this is really working on SDGs. And their contribution is teach English language and competencies to get those jobs. And the issue is that 8 out of the 10 students in the developing world receive dismal education. So they are not properly educated. So this organization chooses 2 SDGs to work on. I sometimes also see organizations support 8 SDGs, but this organization is very focused to number, and that is number 4, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education. And number 8, promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth and decent work for all. So this makes sense. But this organization struggled. The vision was great. What do we do today? What is on the agenda? So make your SDGs practical. Here you see the 2 SDGs. They support 4 and 8, and their vision to support those SDGs. Their vision is teaching the English language that they give to disadvantaged youth a far better chance to get professional work. And not just only the cognitive English language skills, but also many non-cognitive skills. And then more practical, they're offering educational programs teaching English to youth 15 to 22 years old. And it's a program which is a year, which is like 100 minutes a day. And I cannot see the rest of my slide, but it's a concise program. It's very specific. So the third tooling set, one is scaling up. SDGs is the second. The third is the theory of change. In the social entrepreneurship world, the theory of change is very well known. In this commercial entrepreneurship world, it is not, but it's very handy, because with that it gives like the vision far away, and then from impact back to outcome, and then from outcome back to results. So here you see the results are far more concrete. 3 one-year programs to disadvantaged youth, always close to the students. Then the activities. Okay, to get the results done, you need to have an effective curriculum. They have adopted open source training, and they have decided to work with top schoolers. And then the resources. So also get the numbers. If they want to achieve this chain up to 2030, then they need to have 106 branches, 770 teachers, and 28,000 students. So with theory of change, you get from a very bold but rather abstract vision to a very specific resources that you need to get the impact done. And here's a good thing: the resources, activities, and results are within the scope and influence of the organization, and that leads, and that is the impact on the environment, to the outcome and the impact. So going back to scaling up, how can this organization and how did this organization make it very practical and get things in motion, other than talk about it and not doing anything about it? So they made a plan. In 2024, a rollout to 2 more countries. So apart from India, 2 other countries. Partnerships in place with 3 universities. And at that time, at the end of 2024, they want to have 47 branches, 101 teachers, 2,400 students. Going even more concrete, this year, tested and scalable curriculum, rollout plan ready and staffed, and 4 branches, 9 teachers, and 170 students. So it becomes more specific, and you see that the outcomes are more specific too. We can check at the end of the year whether they have done this or not. And if they haven't, they can learn. So what do they learn? And then this quarter, a developed and tested curriculum. And for example, 1 branch, 2 teachers, 45 students. So from this very bold and abstract 2 SDGs, they know what to do this quarter, but they don't know yet what to do today. Actually, if you look at it, hire first teacher, make a job description, and make a job ad. This is for the CEO. This is the most important thing in the chain to get the impact to the SDGs. So with scaling up, everything comes to on 1 page, which I like. The concept of the 1 page, this was coined by a guy called Vern Harnish, because it brings everyone in the organization literally on the same page, because there is only 1 page. So what are the benefits? Create and monitor meaningful priorities. So it's not only the SDG you support, that the organization supports, but it's also the meaningful priorities that brings that to the desired impact. But also meaningful KPIs, and KPIs that create transparency, but also give clarity on the progress that the organization is making. And KPIs work perfectly for accountability. And here's the thing, everyone knows KPIs stand for key performance indicator. but not in scaling up. In scaling up, it stands for kept promise indicator. So if my KPI is this, then dear team, I promise you, I will get it done, or I will signal in time and learn from it. So we have covered a lot now, and I'm a little bit ahead of schedule, Stefan, so you can all already prepare. But there is one more concept we need to discuss, because in the scaling up, there is a focus on profit. It's an American methodology, and everything is centered around profit. And when I did research in 2017 and 2018, then I discovered for organizations why successful organizations were not very impactful, and very impactful organizations were not so commercially successful. Why was that? And there were a couple of things that I discovered, but the most important thing is this impact formula and how to work with the impact formula. The impact formula is conscious impact equals intended impact times brilliantly executed. And there is a multiplier symbol in between, because if either one of the segments or both is low, then the conscious impact is low. So intended impact is all about ambition, this great vision, SDG, but also the people you surround you with, because you can have a great idea. If you get the wrong people around you, you will not get it done. So you also see here the multiplier symbol. And brilliantly executed is discipline and learning. It's not more and certainly not less than that. Or in other terms, in more popular terms, conscious impact is purpose times profit. And now I'm doing something, so watch out. I'm doing something which mathematically doesn't matter, but this research showed that it does matter. Conscious impact is profit times purpose. You need to start the profit engine, the economic engine, before you start the purpose engine, the impact engine. So research backs this up, but still you can think, okay, wow, this is a great concept. And by the way, I'm firefighting and this and that and priorities. So how can you apply the impact formula in daily business? And the same research showed that it is very, very easy. It is so easy that I'm almost hesitant to tell you and share it with you. Because it's like, okay, this quarter, everything in scaling up is in a quarterly rhythm. This quarter, the focus is on profit. We need to get more students in, we need to get more this and that. The next quarter, you focus on purpose. So on what you contribute to the world, what you contribute to customers, purpose. Then the next quarter, profit, purpose, and so on. So there is like an alternating sequence, an oscillating sequence between profit and purpose. And if you get this rhythm, this cadence in your organization, it is easy to scale up profit and purpose. So profit and purpose, scaling up is the profit thing, is originally 70,000 plus organizations were used it worldwide. And SDGs obviously is the purpose thing. So with this and with happy scaling, I would like to end my contribution. Stefan, over to you.
Thank you, Pieter. Really loved it. Really loved I know how you work. I've been in the time that I could work with you for 4 years. It really helped me to grow, really make impact. And I see that you now reverted to the scaling on purpose and for the SDGs. So I really love it. I also love the fact the kept promise indicator. The beautiful thing is we only have one thing. That's our word.
It is.
If you break that word, it's just so. Thank you for your presentation. Really, 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 really lovely to listen to you. Are there any questions from the crowd? No questions?
Maybe in the chat.
Yeah, I was seeing in the chat asking people for questions, but you told a pretty cool story, I think, Peter, because there's one coming in. Which article is on the impact formula?
Looking at the lady's name, I suspect that she is Dutch, but that's an assumption. I wrote a book about it, the betekenis formula, which is impact formula in English.
Okay, you wrote it yourself?
Yes, I did after I did the research.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, the great thing, another book that you might read. I don't want to make, yeah, that's one. Thank you, Geerke. I don't want to promote something, but Pieter is one of the first guys who started the Rijnlands model. The simple thing about an ecosystem that you need startups and scale-ups for innovation, and you need experts for the expertise, you need government for the regulations and the network, and you need investors for smart money, not only for the money, but smart money, and you need corporates to scale. So that's also from your side, Pieter. So you did a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did.
Okay. I see two other questions coming in. One is
Right.
from Martin Klein. He loves your emphasis on strategy and learning. Do you have an example of how an organization can create a learning culture around impact?
Sorry, and I didn't hear the last part of your question. Can you repeat?
Sure. So do you have an example of how an organization can create a learning culture around impact?
The learning culture within the scaling up methodology is in rhythm. The heartbeat is a quarter, and in the quarter there is exercises, and actually it's looking back and not judging, but learning. So the rhythm is important. You can also do it weekly. You can even do it daily. Look back in what goes well and what goes wrong or unexpectedly. And the most important point from that is not to judge and to see the patterns. And if something appears 6 times almost in a row, it's a pattern.
Great, great. And is this also applicable to large scale organizations?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Great. Another question Willem Gauss asking, is the book available that you wrote on Amazon?
No, unfortunately not yet.
Okay. Where is it available?
It is available in onbol.com and management book.
Okay, great.
Okay. We will share the link later in our final email.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. I don't
Any
know
other questions?
It's coming in, but I think we're running out of time, so we're going to the next one. Yeah.
Great, great.
Thank you.
So we're happy to introduce Giles. Giles is from formerly from England. Giles is the director of Fledger and the Hague Tech. Giles, welcome here. Giles will explain why it's okay to use the S word, even with investors. Stakeholders matter. How we talk about them, make laws of them, and incentivize them matters to deliver to our purpose and to deliver value. It's great meeting you here. Can you tell us a short introduction about where you came from and yeah.
Sure. So thank you very much, Stephen, and thank you, Pieter, for the previous talk. I'm Giles Slinger. I'm 53 years old. I'm finding myself here in the Netherlands now for 6 years. I'm one of the last British people hanging on in Europe as long as I can. My kids are all in Dutch school now, so they're really learning how to be properly integrated. It's fantastic. I'm a director of Fledger, which is a small startup which helps other companies set up equity and options to align all their employees with the purpose of the company. So it tries to create a more efficient alignment. also a director of the Hague Tech, which is an innovation hub in The Hague, where we have about 100 companies all working on exciting and interesting things. And one of the things that we're doing there in the next few months, actually Peter is applying you around the model, is to look at the ecosystem around energy and energy transition in this area, which is going to be very exciting. So I'll probably be calling you up for some help, Peter.
Yeah.
What I'd like to share with you today is that once upon a time in my past, I was an economist, and economists are notoriously hard-hearted people. Apparently, the longer you study economics, the the less capable you are at cooperating in any kind of cooperation game. And this has been tested with economics undergraduates. After 1 year, they're not so great, but they get worse and worse as they go forward.
Yeah.
So I see myself as a recovering economist, seeking to learn to cooperate again. And what I'd like to share with you is the way that you can answer the question when people say, so these SDGs, right? It's just greenwashing, right? These SDGs, it's just a way of pretending that you're interested in things, but really when it comes down to it, it has to be about profit, right? Profit's the thing, SDGs is just window dressing. The question is, how do you respond to that? How do you respond if you're asked by investors? How do you respond if you're asked by employees? What are the real priorities of the organization? And how do you balance SDGs with other goals? And I'd like to take you through the journey that I worked on once upon a time when I studied for my PhD, how to think about stakeholders, because essentially it's the same problem. It's how do you put purpose into business? And is that possible in normal economics? And if it's not possible, do you really have to take on that challenge and say, look, guys, this is not normal economics. There's something different going on here. And I think you do have to do that. I think it's impossible to make the case for SDGs under conventional economics, and I'll explain why. And therefore, I want to give you the armor, the defense, the shield that will protect you when you want to go and talk about SDGs and make the case for them with your investors, your employees, and those around you. So,
I'm all ears.
is that okay,
I'm
Stephen?
so silently listening. Oh, just amazing. Let's take my
Yeah?
breath. Really
Okay.
love forward. Take it away.
Let's try. Let's see. So I hope you're seeing the screen.
Yes, we do.
Great. Okay. So stakeholders and SDGs. Let's see if this is clicking through. Yeah. So once upon a time, when people talked about stakeholders, they talked about things like the triple bottom line. You might have remembered that from the late 90s, the early 2000s. People said, listen, this is just an excuse, a convenient excuse for poor managers. It distracts managers. There's only one responsibility, and that is to increase your profit. The second quote down there, the purpose of business is to maximize owner value over the long term. Stakeholder theory gives you no guidance. And a great quote, the most ridiculous word you hear in the boardrooms these days is stakeholders. Stakeholders, how much do they pay for their stake? They don't pay anything, shareholders do. And for those of you who enjoy the history of economics, you might spot there's Milton Friedman. There's a lady called Elaine Sternberg, who tried to apply philosophy to economics. There's Al Dunlap, known as Chainsaw Al, for his way of hacking businesses apart. And Clive Crook writing in The Economist in 2005. So SDGs will come under the same pressure as this. Is it just a way of confusing people? Now, a response to this approach has been building up since the 1960s, when Bob Stewart and Marion Dosha first came up with the word stakeholders. It has a very good history with Swedish thinking, thinking throughout the world. And you can look back even to the early 1900s and earlier and earlier about the balance between different groups. So Frank Abram in the 1950s, a responsibility to maintain a working balance between different groups. William Dill in the 1970s. Up until now, we've been thinking that stakeholders are some sort of externalities. We just have to calculate around them. But we have to think about the idea that these stakeholders might offer active participation with management. And Alistair Darling at the bottom there, who became Chancellor of the Exchequer at one point in the UK, Successful companies see their employees not just as a resource, but as a source of creative innovation. Very much as Peter was saying about innovation and change being needed for a better world. The employees could be that source of innovation. So it seems that despite the objections of Milton Friedman and Friedrich Hayek, that the battle has kind of already been won. The world has moved on from a tough approach to profit first and profit only to a more generous approach, which can accept the idea of stakeholders. But the battle is not yet won, because if you look at different legal systems, it's still in tension. In Australia, for example, the Companies Act at the moment is still from 2001, where its directors' duty is to take actions that they rationally believe are in the best interest of the corporation. And I'll give you a quote later on from a company lawyer in Australia who says that basically means shareholders first. In the UK, the Companies Act was adapted in the early 2000s to say that directors should balance the interests of employees and suppliers, customers, the community and the environment. So it was moving in the direction of wider stakeholders. The Netherlands has revised 2 or 3 times, and most recently in 2016 explicitly said long-term value creation, taking stakeholder interests into account. That was one of the most advanced ones in actual law, and the US, not underneath the corporate law, but the Business Roundtable in the US, representing 200 major corporations, said in 2019, the purpose of a corporation is long-term value to all stakeholders. And it's well worth looking. It's very interesting how they talk about that. So you could say, look, the world's moving the right way. It's going the right direction. But when you talk to some of the investors, when you talk to some of the corporate lawyers, for example, a quote here from an Australian corporate lawyer, Stephen Pitt-Walker, we have gone down the path of profit maximization as the only way forward. The duty of a director is to the investor. It's still very much a focus. So, okay, if that's the case, then couldn't we do good things with companies just by using the existing laws? Could that do the job for us? We can protect consumers, we can protect employees, we can protect the environment. Well, the fact is, though, that level of protection at the moment results in things like mountains being eaten up. So these are the Appalachian Mountains in the United States with their tops broken off by companies that then went bankrupt and left the environmental damage and the employee pensions to be taken care of by the state or not at all. So, okay, could we just then use standard economics? We can say maybe companies can work in different legal environments, they can collect information together, they can still be maximizing, but they can do that in a way which is fair to their customers and their suppliers. But in the UK, for example, the water companies who've all been privatized are quite happily calculating that it's actually cheaper for them to discharge sewage into rivers and the sea than to clean it up themselves. And so 400,000 times last year, sewage was poured out into rivers because it was more profitable to do that, even after the costs of paying penalties, than actually to clean up the water. Hence the protests you can see on the screen. So just economic calculation within the law is not enough. And could you then use enlightened shareholder value? Could you say, well, we want to have a license to operate. We want to maximize, but within that idea that a license to operate will constrain the company. Well, unfortunately, that's the calculation that Shell did when it thought about Brent Spar. And that was one where it said it's technically better to dump Brent Spar in the depths of the Atlantic. But again, that then had extra costs outside Shell's system. For example, that might serve as an example to other people that they could follow, and you'd have a cascading effect on the system. So anything that deals just with the private individual company is not yet strong enough, because all these things which are about calculation don't protect the fundamental purpose of what you're trying to do with your company. And when it comes to what can be called the tragedy of the commons, the fact that each of us by our own decisions may use up the resources that are better kept for everybody, the tragedy of the commons says that all of us struggle to say no to legal profit maximizing opportunities. So forests get cut down, the meat that gets grown on the grassland that results gets bought and sold by companies. And Rabobank, which was my bank recently, recently has lent $3.6 billion in order to support agribusinesses that have been deforesting parts of the Amazon, as has BNP Paribas, as has HSBC, Together We Thrive, 7 billion lent, as has JP Morgan. All of this comes from the Global Witness organization. And in fact, if you look across all the different deals of some top banks, all of them face the problem that in the Treasury of the Commons, if I don't do this one thing, which is profitable for me, then somebody else will, even though we're all worse off as a result. And as a profit maximizing shareholder, as a profit maximizing investor, if I'm going to lose my job running an investment fund, it's very hard to turn that down. So how do we deal with this? Well, even NGOs, when they think about where they're going to put their money, they think about return on investment as well, because the nature of the economic calculation here is one where you say, I can put my money here, I can put my money there, but I need to know what I'm getting back for it. And the whole point about purpose is it's more important than the return. The purpose is, if it's genuine, it's authentic, it goes beyond a calculation. Yet, the World Bank says investing in primary education for women is the best investment we can make. In other words, the calculation is even being applied there. So there's a tension between purpose and optimization or calculation that goes to the very heart of how we think about businesses and how we think about what we do. So we need to talk about purpose. And you can justify purpose as an economic thing. You can say purpose helps you coordinate. So if you're Shell now and you need to plot a path towards the future, you need to go through gas, you need to move towards renewables. Having a purpose can help you identify the focal points for change. So it's a coordinating device. Therefore, purpose can be, you don't have to believe in it, you just say this is our purpose, and therefore it helps you to get there. It can help you predict the future, because you might say, well, we know that people are going to want to buy green electricity because that's something that's of higher meaning for them. It's a Maslow's hierarchy of needs point. We can predict the future. They're going to go there. So as long as we understand the purpose, we can get there first and we won't be left with stranded assets. So it can coordinate, it can predict the future. It can overcome tragedies of the commons, which we just described. But the most important thing is that purpose can also help you recruit the bright people who are going to create the future. It can help engage them, inspire them, and retain them. And this is the really key thing, because they can create the change that, say, Peter talked about before. And the key thing is that this is different from what economics says. And you have to understand why. It's different because, first of all, when you creatively cooperate with somebody, you exchange rich information in the tiny indicators of your face, your body language, how you behave, what you say, what you don't say. That rich information communicates the creative interaction. Think Lennon and McCartney, Tversky and Kahneman. That rich information is vital for cooperation. But to communicate it, because it's done subconsciously, it has to be authentic. And quite quickly eventually you spot, in the case of the British Prime Minister, eventually you spot people who are not completely sincere. So authenticity is vital. But if you're going to be authentic, you cannot also simultaneously calculate. Because if you're calculating about something, at some point you're going to say, well, I would be creative with you, but at this point I'm not really, at this point it's too much. I'm going to stop. So If you're trying to design an economic system, you have to create a space in which you can have people exchanging rich information to cooperate. You have to be possible for them to communicate their authenticity. And when they can do that, they can be an environment in which they can create value, new economic value. And just creating economic value like that is not something that exists in normal old-fashioned economics. So that means that when you're teaching people how to manage, including with SDGs, you need to talk about personal engagement, vulnerability. You need to talk about purpose and authenticity. And you need to teach them that is how they're going to create productively, they're going to create new value, because they get good at creating those situations where people can cooperate together. That is when you, for example, if you think about an agile environment, there's lots of very personal, direct contact. There's lots of learning how to learn. There's lots of cooperation. There's lots of creation. If you read Atul Gawande on checklists, how to make hospitals operate well, how to make sure that operations are safe, personal contact, creation, learning, feedback systems. And lots of the great management theorists, a wonderful Dutchman, Joost de Blok, Bert Sorg, Bob Chapman, everybody matters, treating everyone like someone's precious child. These wonderful management theorists, wonderful management practitioners, they're using personal contact, creativity, and rich information, authenticity, to make the world a better place. I know that time is short, so I can't tell you all about Marina Mazzucato, who I think is going to win a Nobel Prize in the next 5 years, because she does great stuff on the same idea about how you build ecosystems. Again, theories of innovation and contact and creativity. But when it comes to the SDGs and stakeholders, yes, the corporation needs a strong business model. Yes, it needs to engage personally with the people. And the SDGs role is to help by expressing the authentic purpose. And it has to be authentic. The corporation has to believe in those things beyond profit. And those SDGs, along with good ways of working, they're what is vital to help the company become stronger. And people have discussed for many years, what is a stakeholder? Is it the people who impact your business, the people who are impacted by it? I want you just to remember one thing, and that is that your stakeholders, who you're going to work with to achieve your SDGs, they are your co-creators. They're people with whom you can make the world a better place. And that's all of these people here. These are your stakeholders. They're your co-creators. With them, the SDGs are going to be part of your authentic purpose. But when you use SDGs, have no doubt at all, you're overthrowing conventional economics. So you have to be brave. Stephen, back to you.
I'm just silent.
Big round of applause for Charles. Thank you, Charles. For the great talk, Charles. I'm just seeing if anybody has questions for you. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I think they're all silent. But I also see some applause coming from Kalyani. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I have one question to you, Giles. We heard Pieter talking before, profit, purpose, that should be the rhythm. Is that the same rhythm that you would advise, or what's your opinion on that?
I think that the point that Pieter makes about a rhythm is actually a very interesting one, and that's a human thing. You need a rhythm. So the weekly meeting, the daily stand-up, it is a very useful thing. And so therefore, to have a way of measuring, including profit, is absolutely vital. You need to know where you stand. And that's why I think it's interesting to say that these things are in tension with each other, that one is not right and one's not wrong. The two things are in tension with each other. And it should be the case that you look, are we achieving our purpose? And at the same time, you then stop and say, great, are we also achieving profit? So I really like the balance that Pieter strikes between those two.
Great, perfect. Thank you. It's very inspiring, I see, Giles. No questions coming in from the chat, so I think you had a pretty clear story. So thank you, Giles. I think we can move, Stefan, to the next part.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Are you going to introduce Richard, or shall I introduce Richard?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. I'd like to introduce you again to an Englishman. Has also some years here in the Netherlands. He will, of course, he will introduce himself later. Richard Maddox. He's a writer of the energy book. Richard believes if you want to make impact, you have to take care of yourself first. First, do well before you do good, and that's also what you also mentioned in the that you heard in the stories of Giles and Pieter. An organization that only does good first has to do well. So that's a great engine. Richard, welcome here in our meeting.
Thank you.
Can you shortly introduce yourself? I know you for a long time.
Well, indeed, we go back a long way, Stefan. And as you can see from my gray hair and lines on my face, I go back much further than Stefan. And when you add up my family, which is the thing I always talk about first, I have 4 amazing kids together with my wonderful partner, Christina. I have 7 grandkids aged between 3 and 19. So you can tell I've been around for a while. I've also been around a lot longer than Giles in the Netherlands. I first came here in 1976. And I think in total, over all the years since, it's probably approaching 40 years that I've been here. You know, some years in the States, some years in New Zealand, and back in England. And the last 20 years, I've spent 6 months in France, 6 months in the Netherlands, until a year ago, in fact. So, but here I am, based in the Netherlands, and yeah, fantastic that you invited me to join, Stefan. I'm looking forward to sharing some of my thoughts on energy. Not as you'd suspect, you know, this being SDG, you'd sort of think, oh, this is going to be all about renewable and green energy. And I am going to talk about renewable energy, but renewable human energy, personal energy. And it's something, I'm so passionate about this subject. I quit corporate life 21 years ago. I was CEO of an IT company, an international IT company, and had been in IT for years, but it had never been, yeah, I seemed to be pretty good at it, but it just wasn't my passion. My passion is really helping unleash potential in other people. So that's me.
Okay, great. Yeah, I really love, I read the book also, and I know you for a long time. It's also in the story of what you heard of Giles. If you talk about purpose, that's your strongest energy. You have immense amount of energy, and the full potential of that, to range that and to set that in the right position. Last days, we saw Irene Woost, won for the 5th time. She said that simple thing, you have to be ready. You have to check everything. There's a checkbox around it. And we have to do the same. You have to be careful with yourself, and you have to take care of yourself first. So this is your talk. The place is yours.
Thanks, Stefan. Let's see if we can get this a little slideshow going. You know, it's the name of the game always. So I'm assuming that you're now seeing slides. He did this introduction, so yeah, if you see the big picture there, it's the oh, thanks, Giles. Oh, that Zoom has quit, so can you still see the slides?
I can see your slides.
Maybe you could put it full screen, Richard. Presenter mode.
It is in presenter mode. Are you seeing a second slide?
No,
no, but we see the notes below.
Oh, so, then there's something really gone wrong with my.
It's not a big issue. You can also just scroll down this.
Can you see the slide again? Can you see?
Yeah, we see a slide with you and your family, and golfing and motorcycling.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's me. Sorry. So the family is my raison d'etre, as you see there, and I've been into sports from about 3 years old, I think. But as a consequence, I don't have any knees anymore. So my current sports are golf and cycling, and I'm bit of an adrenaline freak, so I still ride on 2 wheels as fast as I can often, but as fast as permitted. Now, I really hope this is going to work, because Zoom keeps throwing me out today. Are you seeing a second slide about personal energy?
No, we're still at the first slide. So we see your cursor moving.
I'm gonna have to go out and come back in again. I'm so sorry. Well, let me just try and stop sharing and reshare again and see what happens.
Sure. No worries.
Is that working? You seeing?
We need a little bit patient. So maybe we have a waiting music
Slide.
for that. No, it's not. Now you stop sharing, I think.
Okay. And now are you seeing?
It's loading again.
Hmm.
And he's gone. I think his connection is he's losing his connection. Right? Stefan, can you still hear me? Yeah.
I do think so. I will let him in.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, but are you still there, or are we only seeing your slides now? Oh, this is Sebastian, maybe. Sebastian, is this you?
No, it's not me.
Oh,
So you're
okay.
seeing a second slide. Why is personal energy so important?
Yeah, exactly, Richard. Yeah, you're back, and we're seeing the second slide.
Yesterday, I was praising Zoom so much, and now it's letting me down. I'm so sorry. Anyway, why is personal energy so important? Well, it's a really simple equation. You know, the more energy you have, the more you can do in life, and the more you can make things happen. And in terms of making things happen, you as business people or people that work and are not into sports as such, then you're really going to be doing this for a long time. You know, professional athletes, they have a very short period of their careers. Business athletes, as I love to call them, they are in it for, well, hopefully for a long, long time. And we do it a huge amount of time, so many hours every day. So that's kind of like part of the equation. And the other part of the equation, and for those of you that are still sort of youngish and have either got lots of hair or haven't got gray hair, then the bad news added to this is that as demand goes up, which often happens when you get into your 30s, you know, above 30, then you start getting all sorts of balls that you're juggling around, which includes often starting a family or getting a mortgage and career. And at the same time, physically and all other parts of your energy, it's on the decline. So it's really, really important to, if you want to take care of business, you want to take care of the planet, which are, you know, fantastic, noble goals, you've got to start with yourself. You know, we all know this stuff, but how many of you actually really do this? How many of you really spend time thinking about your energy, thinking about yourself? You know, yeah, I'm sure you think about nutrition and diet and exercise and this, but your energy is so important. But I want to tell you a little bit more about energy, because it is really key to sustaining your growth, your performance, and thus everything around you in terms of what we're trying to do for the planet and for business. Simple question. What's your energy level at the moment on a scale of 1 to 10? You know, 1 is like, I'm an immovable block of concrete, and 10 is, I'm a live wire. If you go to this site, paulev.com/3rmaddox232, any smart device will get you there, of course, or computer, and just enter your score, if you will, on a scale of 1 to 10. And let's see if we're getting scores coming in here. If we were together, I'd say talk amongst yourselves while we're doing this. You know? So you have to talk to the wall while you're there. Let's see what the scores come up with. I'll capture this as a slide later and then pass it on, which I assume that Stefan, Michael, or Sebastian will be passing the slides around, but I'll send this one with it as well. Oh, we've got a couple of people down there who are sort of feeling not like blocks of concrete, but kind of lowish. But most people, whoa, for this time of day, this is a really interesting score, I'd say. So, you know, whatever your score is, there's clearly, we've all got room for improvement. There's not even 1 10 in there yet. And if they were, well, they probably might not be telling the complete story. But the interesting thing is, I asked you, what is your energy level? Now, I don't know what you thought, but most people, when I ask that question, they think, oh, it's how much physical energy I've got, or it's how good am I able to use this fantastic instrument in my skull, my beautiful brain. How good am I at concentrating? And so people think about mental and physical energy, and that's a great starting point. But there are 2 others. There's emotional energy And as Stefan alluded to earlier, and I guess you've come across this before, there's purpose energy. When we talk about these 4 types of human energy, we most often draw it in this pyramid form. And if it's for good reason, not because any one of them is more important than another, they're all equally important as each other. But the reason is we build our energy from the base up. So it's good and really, it's very important to have a solid physical base. If you don't have that, your emotional energy is not going to be stable. So we build that, then we build emotional energy. And similarly, if your emotional energy is not strong, if you're unstable, it's not very easy to be able to focus your brain and to concentrate. So we build up like that, but then we get to purpose energy. Now, the power of your energy, the force of your energies goes from the top down. It's purpose that drives you. I call it so often, the power of purpose or purpose-driven power. When you know, the typical Simon Sinek and other types of statements that go around, when you know your whys, then you can have so much more impact with your mental, with your emotional, with your physical energies. And it's a vast area. And at the end of this, and I think Stefan's already might have mentioned it in the invitation, but I'm going to be opening a seminar for everybody who's attending this and others. It's sort of a free webinar in April. And I'll go into this in a lot more detail and give you all sorts of ways of boosting your energy. But for today, I just wanted to let you know about these 4 types and how key they all are. But the other thing about it is that, like green energy, like sustainable energy, your energy is renewable. And you do think, I guess you sleep sometimes, you might have a power nap now and again, which is good. That helps to renew. You have some nutrition, hopefully in the area of 70% want and 30% need or less than that. So we do things to recharge, but it's important to think about all 4 areas in terms of recharging our energy. Again, time-wise, I lost a little bit of time with the Zoom issues, but I'll cover this in more detail in the webinar in April. There are these so-called energy zones. And obviously what we'd love to do is be primarily in the performance zone. You can't do that 100% of the time. The ideal is to split your time between the performance and the renewal zone. But we're all spending time so often in what's called the survival zone, which is where we're doing kind of the things that the must things, the moot things, or things that we'd rather not be doing. It's not that we don't have the energy to do them, but we don't apply ourselves completely to it. And sometimes we're in the sort of like the overwhelmed zone, hopefully not burnout. So the ideal is we want to get to this. Probably we'll never get there. But if we can balance our lives day in, day out, so that we're 75% performance, 25% renewal, boy, are you going to be not just setting yourself on fire and not setting the world on fire in terms of the planet is burning, but no, in terms of inspiring millions and billions of people, hopefully. So you want better performance, you've got to spend more time in the renewal zone. It's that simple. And this is the best way and the best thing I can give you today in terms of an energizer and boosting your energy. It sounds so simple, and I know so many people around, and almost 68 years old, I've come across thousands of people that say, oh, brakes are for wimps, all sorts of other things like that. I say, bullshit, brakes are for performers, people who want to maximize their impact. You should be taking, everybody here and everybody around you should be taking a minimum of 5 breaks a day. And a break, I don't mean just getting up and going to get a cup of coffee. No, 5 to 15-minute breaks where you take a break from work. You do all sorts of things, some physical activity, play some music, do some juggling, whatever it is, play some guitar like I do. Whatever it is you do, take breaks, because this information here, it's fact, not fiction. It's a no-brainer. When you take breaks, it's scientifically proven. You will be more creative. your health and wealth there will be increased, and you will be able to have much better focus and concentration. So you just set your, use your smartphone, set your alarm every, I would say 60 minutes, but I'm trying to be kind here, every 90 minutes. Take a break, make a list of things that you can love to do. Call a friend, whatever it be, make a list at the beginning of every day, and then use that list and say, oh, it's break time. What am I going to do now? Oh, I'll play some guitar. Oh, I'll call a friend. That kind of activity. You please, please, please make a commitment. You want to have impact. You want to meet your SDGs. You want to do all sorts of things. Then look after yourself. And I would say again, 7 days a week, but at least every working day, take 5 breaks per day, 5 to 15 minutes. I know a lot about this subject. It's been a topic of mine since I was 11 years old. I've been hugely interested in energy, also nuclear energy, and so all sorts of types of energy, in particular personal energy, human energy. Where does it come from? I'm not trying to sell you the book here. I'm just going to say in the webinar, I'm going to cover lots of the boosters, quite a few of them that come out of this book, which is like 50 tiny habits to help you boost your energy. Just for the third time then to mention it, Stefan's going to talk or he'll send out an email inviting you to the webinar that's coming up, and it's free for everybody. So it's be like minimum 75, probably 90 minutes best to schedule for. And there's one final resource that if you want to access it, again, I'm sure the slides will be sent around. There's a site called theenergybook.com. And if you go to the resources section of that, there's something called the profiler, an energy profiler. And it asks you 20 multiple choice questions. And there you'll see you get an energy profile across the 4 energy types. That's it from me. And slide-wise, I'm just really sorry about the Zoom issue.
No issue at all, Richard.
To Mr. Zoom and tell him.
I really loved it again. If we, when we work together, when I work with people, I always give people the book. A simple thing, because I know that they are energized. And so normally also we have to stop for now because we are in this for 1.5 hours. So we discussed this shortly. But thank you first. And I hope that there are questions in the audience. I saw some comments already.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments coming in, Richard. Very inspiring, very true. Looking forward to the webinar, which actually was a little bit of a surprise for people. So it was a present, but it's good that you opened already the present for the people. So very good, Richard. And I see a lot of things coming in, very motivational, and people are very energized. So they are looking forward to your webinar. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions for Richard. Feel free to ask them in the chat. Oh, there's one. Femke is really curious. How do seasons correlate with the energy in work and purpose?
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is that in terms of seasons, a lot of people, I would say, suffer, but at least they experience a depletion of their energies, emotional energy and physical energy, particularly in the darker months, as it were, when there's less sunlight and so forth. So, that's one of the keys always is to get out there, get out in the fresh air, particularly in the morning light. Morning light is fantastic. So whenever you get out and just do a 20-minute walk whenever you can, or even a 10-minute walk, but get out in the fresh air, get out in nature, watch nature, see nature, that kind of stuff. When you do that, it's particularly when you can focus on nature, when you see animals around, when you see trees, and that really starts stimulating reflection, which stimulates purpose. So that's for sure a really good thing to consider, more so in what I would say the darker, colder, grayer months.
Yeah, great. And maybe COVID helped a little bit with that. People had more time to, between meetings, go outside instead of working in offices. So,
yeah, and have walking meetings, particularly now in these times of the last couple of years, get out and use your mobile, go out and walk and talk. But also when you're with people, go out for a walk and talk. The conversations are so much freer, looser, and it's good for all sorts of other reasons too.
Yeah, meetings, we call them in the Netherlands,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
one of the concepts. So very good advice. Thank you so much, Richard.
Yeah, we're going to personally invite you to the event. So everybody, there are some questions already in the chat. We will try to answer them also in our emailing and with the video and with the invitation. So lots of presents coming.
Yeah. But thank you so much for this already. Really energized me already. So thank you. Next up, we have another speaker, which is actually my boss. So she's called Gerke. There she is.
No, don't call me that, Michael. Come on.
I know you hate it when I call you my boss, right? I have another boss called Yvette, but no, I really like Gerke. She's a really, I know her now for 2 years since I've been working for febr, and she's just an amazing power vrouw, as we call it in the Netherlands. And she's one of the founders of febr. Very proud to work for febr, and she founded another company called Do2Be Collective with a very big, hairy, audacious goal. So I'm very happy that she will be speaking the next 15 minutes. So floor is yours, Gerke.
Okay, thank you. Going to share my presentation. Okay. How did that go?
Yeah, perfect. We see it full screen. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so excited to share this presentation with you because we think we have an absolutely idea worth spreading. Michael introduced us already. My name is Gerke Versteeg, and together with my business partner Yvette, we started febr and the 2Be Collective. And although many people are concerned about climate change, real change is not really happening. And at the same time, people are the greatest force for change. So our belief is that people are actually quite open to change. They just do not want to change by others. And to make real impact, we have to accelerate the transition to a more sustainable society. And we need to reach massive groups of people to create engagement, movement, and include all brilliant minds for ideas and action to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals before 2030. We experience that it's quite hard to change the perspective, habits, and behavior of people, but we think we have approached this matter horribly wrong because our assumption is that most people do not want to change. So based on the research, we found out that 95% of people are absolutely willing to contribute to sustainable development. And this hypothesis, which we are testing as we speak, is based on the thought leadership of Rutger Bregman, a Dutchman who demonstrates in his book, Humankind, that history systematically shows that most people want to do good. So he shows that people do not put their own interests first, but things get difficult when things get difficult, but by nature likes to help others and prefer aid and friendship to power. So in line with his work, we believe that people are actually very open to change. They just want to be changed by others. And if that is true, the real challenge is not motivating people to be more sustainable, or regulating sustainable development, or subsidizing sustainable choices, because this is not at all the problem. The real obstacles are lack of knowledge and skills, no transparency in our economy, and not being able to do things differently. So when we take that into account, and if that's the case, we simply need to inform the why and the how. We need to inspire what can we do and give a lot of examples and enable people to exhibit that behavior that contributes to a sustainable world tomorrow. So in our first company, the consulting agency febr, we have been advising companies on circular business since 2016. So the demand is high, we're growing by 25% every year. And in our project, we have seen our clients team develop, learn, experience, and achieve results, which I think is really awesome. But at the same time, it's a drop in the ocean in the transitional global scale. So we wanted to be bigger, faster, because by 2030, we have to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. But if we continue at this speed of development, we could stop really right now. So we searched for a solution to activate a very large group of people and to challenge them become more sustainable. So if we start to understand that everyone is a link in a transition and that every employee is in control as an expert of his own work, Only then we really accelerate. Because real change only takes place when people understand that they can contribute to perhaps the most important challenge of this century. So for far too long, especially in the Netherlands, the sustainability challenge has been put to the individual. A better world starts with you. But that also makes the action so damned insignificant. So our idea is to bring this individual responsibility back to the collective. Because billions of individual actions create immense impact. So this is why we founded 2B Collective, an online tool and method that makes learning and experimenting fun, easy, engaging for large groups of people. So we really believe in the power of the crowd. A collective such as all the employees of an organization, all residents of a neighborhood, or all participants in an association. The online gaming learning platform enables participants to gain knowledge about sustainable society and economy, and to apply this directly at home, at their jobs, or for the sustainable development of the organization. So we believe we can create great change and movement through gamified learning by challenges, competition, and interaction. So we said it already, and Michael said it as well. Our ambition is really audacious. The 2B Collective stands for 2 billion people collective. So our ultimate goal is to inspire and activate 2 billion people worldwide to think and act sustainable before 2030. So yes, we aim for a quarter of the world population so we can reach a tipping point for social change. And yeah, that's why I'm very excited to be here, because we really need you to reach our target for 2022. 1 million people who contribute to the SDGs with real action. So why we choose 2 billion? Yeah, because that's the tipping point for social change. And social scientist Demon Santolas' new research shows a cascade of change is triggered when 25% of the population embraces an idea. So we think it's the right thing for our idea. Yes, of course, we need technology in what may be the greatest challenge of this area. But I am really confident on the brilliance of humanity to create ideas and innovation for sustainable solutions. We are able to dig holes on Mars. We have the ability to operate through our veins. We already have so much technology at our disposal. So, and yet real transformation towards a sustainable society remains really slow. So what we need is a social innovation, acknowledgement that with every choice we make, we can choose for a sustainable alternative. So in our daily life, in our work, and in all experience, people are the greatest force for change. Everyone can use their intellect and come up with solutions as to how we can do things smarter and more sustainable. Yeah, and then change can be explosive. So change seems far off when we are before the tipping point, but just with a little more effort and a few more people on board, social change can erupt. So we need strong social ties to create critical mass. And the key accelerator for a collective sustainable mindset and action is social reinforcement, the power of the crowd. So with that in mind, from the research, we use that for our strategy. So we want to build a globally active collective of partners and players, because people learn in groups and solutions become smarter when the collective brain is deployed. And we really believe there's action when it is inspiring, challenging, and fun. So people learn by doing, and people take action when it's fun. And gaming is fun. So we change the world playing. And we create a lot of interaction, information flowing in all directions. And through this, we collect various valuable data. So in this community, we work with licensed partners who white label our platform for the clients. And we have content partners as well, who create content for learning program and share those with everyone around the globe. So people learn in groups. We think people learn by doing, and people act when they are having fun. And a really nice part is that competition makes people fanatic. So online, we create a platform for connecting massive groups, and this way we can change the world playing. So you're really curious, I think, by now, but how does it look like? Well, the online gamified action platform enables people to acquire a sustainable mindset, involve them in the why, how, and what towards sustainable action. And you see some print screens of it on the screen. So in 30 minutes a week, people gain knowledge about sustainable society and apply this at home. through elements such as top scores, ranking, badges. Participants are triggered to think and act sustainable. You can play with against colleagues, but also members, your club members or neighbors, and send likes and dislikes. And yeah, it's really fun to play with. And it really works. So it is divided in 3 parts, every challenge. Each challenge has 3 aspects: quiz, action, and share. So with quizzes, we excite people with questions and short videos and information. And with various actions, we active learning, complete small and online and offline assignments. And with a small Facebook feature, we create interaction and share ideas. So we already incorporate examples of interesting startups and scale-ups of the SDG ecosystem in our challenges to inspire people and make possible connections. So the platform is really data-driven. You can understand that. So the tool provides measurable results of KPIs, such as knowledge, attitude, behavior, sense of participation, pride, and appreciation of the collective in which games are played. And you get insights in score per individual, achievements per team, activities, but also who are your ambassadors in the organization. Those really valuable data, which you can use for your sustainability program. So we are so proud of our first results. Last year, we began with pilots in various large companies. And just a few months ago, we went live for 12 weeks, a program of 6 challenges with 1,000 employees of Vattenfall. And they're learning on how to create a fossil-free future in 1 generation. It was really amazing and for us a proven practice. And we were so surprised to see the participation rate of 95%, while this was not a mandatory training or anything. And of course, it was endorsed by the CEO and teams were created. And if a team member was participating poorly, all the other team members would motivate the person because the whole team performs better with everyone is involved. And of course, they want to win the prize that was ready for that week. Anyway, we're very happy that our various incentives in the game work to engage really everyone in the company. And at the moment, we are playing sustainability games with Rijkswaterstaat. So 300 people are playing and we are aiming for 1,400 employees. So back to the SDGs, we already have a learning program on the SDGs and working with the United Nations on a circular economy learning program at the moment. And last month we started the orientation on making 17 challenges, 1 per SDG, together with the SDG in the Netherlands and Data for Good. But if you have more input for this program, please let me know. And I saw the other speakers talking about how you can make your BHAC and transform it to what you're going to do. Well, we make a road to 2030. So as I said, we are really ready to scale up. We have great results on our pilots, and we scaled up the program for Vattenfall and Rijkswaterstaat because we will not be able to reach 2 billion people ourselves. We will focus on partnerships. So consultancy firms worldwide that can work with a tool to engage their clients to act on sustainability with their whole organization, but also citizen initiatives and other collectives are invited to use our tooling and content. So next year, we want to onboard 5 foreign partners, and the next year, 25 partners in 10 different countries. But as you can see, you can also see in 2029 that we want it to be available for free worldwide. So our BHAC is really to activate 2 billion. And that's, yeah, Yvette and I are no longer the owner and it is accessible for everyone. So my gift to you is that you can try it. And you can send an email to support@2B Collective because this week you can try our game, Play Yourself Circular, or you can ask for a demo for the English talking people amongst us, but the Play Yourself Circular is in Dutch. Well, my main question to you all, and I cannot see the chat at the moment, but I'm very curious if you can help us to build this community, because we have to build it exponential to reach our goal in 2030. We need to get the spinning wheel to increase our reach and find partners to work with us and our platform to make real impact through gamified learning and action. So maybe you can help us with connecting us around the world with potential licensed partners or content partners. And yeah, that would be very great and very helpful. So with that, I want to end my presentation. I hope it was inspiring and clarifies an effective call to action. So thank you so much for your time, and Michael, back to you.
Yes, woo-hoo! Great round of applause for Gerke. Thank you, Gerke. Well done, well done. And we've just put the link for the demo. So if you want to request a demo, just check the chat, please. And a wonderful program, very inspired to reach out to those 2 billion. Are there any people who have questions to Gerke or who want to share a potential licensed partner? I saw a lot of international people joining our call. So maybe some people from France, Montreal, or Canada, or I saw some people from Italy. So hopefully we can find some partners close to Europe or India too. Yes, Kalani. So India, when is that on the roadmap? Is that in 2027? Well,
we go where the energy is.
Okay, okay, good. You got
a good question there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. No problem, Stefan. There's one question. What is a licensed partner exactly, Gerke?
Yeah, well, that's a partner who white labels our platform for his clients. So now we have a Rijkswaterstaat and a Vattenfall large energy company, for example, but they're not really our clients. So a licensed partner has clients like Vattenfall.
Yeah, so it could be other consultancy companies abroad, right? Who can also sell their platform locally. Yeah. So I think Mark is really looking into it. Happy to talk, Gerke, from Sylvia. So there are already some connections going on here. So it's great to see Gerke smile. So that's also, it gives more energy. So Richard, maybe that's also one thing you should put in. You put Gerke in the, yeah, exactly. So if there are no more questions for Gerke, thank you again, Gerke, for your presentation. And
one question, sorry, one question.
Yeah.
What is the ideal profile of your next international partner? Oh, that's a good question. And Pieter will smile, I think, because Pieter is challenging to find our first ideal launching customer. So for the content partners, it's like Paul Hawkins, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Raworth kind of profile. That would be, yeah, brilliant. And for the licensed partner, we're looking for a really big consultancy firm. So we're looking at Deloitte, McKinsey, that kind of companies. But we're not really chosen yet. So we're really in the middle of that process.
So does anybody know Leonardo DiCaprio in this call, or Kate Raworth, or knows the CEO of PwC? Please call. Yeah, please call Gerke. Any more questions? No?
No.
Then I think it would be nice if we do a group picture before we go to the breakout sessions. So people got some energy from Gerke's talk. Before we go to the breakout part, it would be nice to make a group picture. So I'm asking Sebastian, maybe you could try to make a screenshot. So everybody, feel free to put your thumbs up or do anything else that you get you energized, and make sure that you look fun on the pictures so we can spread the word later. If you don't want to be on the picture, feel free to put out your webcam. But if you do like it, feel free to put your thumbs up. I say go. Are you ready, Sebastian? Yes? Here we go.
Yes, done.
Done. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. And then I think you can share the presentation of the ecosystem real quickly. Yeah, there you go. Because before we go to the breakout sessions where you can all network together, I think it would be nice to share this as an example. I think maybe a couple of you already saw this image. It's the SDG Ecosystem, which was actually an idea originated from me in 2021. And I really got the idea, there's a lot of solutions already in the market from startups and scale-ups, and corporates are actually looking for those solutions. So what we need to do is to match those solutions to the corporate challenges. And what we're actually trying to do is to make a community. And we started off with 100 companies in the Netherlands who we plotted on the SDGs, because the SDGs is becoming a common language between startups and scale-ups. So the business are making strategies based on the SDGs, and also startups and scale-ups are making their strategy based on the SDGs. So there's a form of alignment in there. And if they find each other, they can accelerate together. So the corporate has a skill, the startup has the bright, innovative idea, and we have to combine those two together. So we started off with 100, and now we are actually at 400 startups and scale-ups in the Netherlands. And my objective for this year is to at least inspire 1 million of these people in this SDG ecosystem to work on sustainable solutions, to contribute to the SDGs. So that's my way to inspire 1 million through the SDG ecosystem. But I'm very curious how you are going to do that. So that's, I think it will be told in the next slide, Sebastian. A little assignment that we have for you guys in the breakout session. So Sebastian will, in a couple of minutes, hit the breakout button. And it's all about connecting to each other. Whether you're a corporate startup, please introduce yourself quickly. Share your contact details if you want. And ask yourself the question, how are you going to inspire 1 million in 2023 to contribute to the SDG ecosystem? And thirdly, how are you going to make this measurable? How are you going to make measurable impact on the SDGs? So those are the 3 burning questions during the breakout sessions. Well, feel free to connect to each other. I see some people leaving. Of course, I understand if you want to have dinner, go ahead. A lot, especially Dutch people, they really care about having dinner on time. But if you feel free, to connect, please hold on, and see you in the breakout sessions in a minute. Sebastian, are you ready? Yes. Bye, guys.
I think everybody is getting back, getting in. Yeah. I don't know if everyone is back already. Can you see that, Sebastian? Can you confirm somewhere to me?
I don't see them anymore.
Okay.
I think so. I think they're all back.
Okay. Then we lost Michael, but okay, room 1 is back. Okay, I think, yeah, everybody was back. Hey, first of all, I really loved the breakout session. I hope you had great energy also there with connecting everybody and connecting. So I see some connections already coming in. So happy to organize this. Like Michael already mentioned, what we're trying to achieve is to make it easier, transparent, that people can connect. It's not about what hat you wear or what organizations you are from, or but it's all about purpose. It's all about how to make impact, how to create new energy, to inspire 1 million. So we're really happy to invite you to our next event. We're organizing an event on the 7th of April. It's the United Nations. It's a breakout session for the regional forum. The simple thing is, last year they said, okay, there are so many initiatives, but they are scattered. And so that's a thing that we really like to solve with each other. If we work together and we make it easier, because the SDGs are easier to find other organizations, but also find experts, we like to digitize this and that people can join and we can match and we can collaborate and we can introduce them to the right people to make real impact. So that's our purpose. And we will send you after this event some emails also about all the questions and the things that there are. But we like to connect you to a platform. On short term, we will announce that, but also invite you with a present, of course, for Richard for the event. So I don't know where Michael is. I think
I'm back. I'm back.
Ah.
Hi guys. Hi. Sorry, since the breakout, I lost connection with my audio, but I'm back. So,
Okay.
Thanks for taking over, Stefan. Yeah.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. So that's mainly what we're trying to achieve. Like Geek already said, there's a lot of tech coming. Tech is going to rule the world, but the tech is there. The new technology is there to make it repetitional, to optimize, to make it more effective. Where we stand out as human, it's all about touch. It's our human touch. How do we make decisions? How do we connect? How do we engage? How do we set our purpose in for the goals to achieve a better planet? So that's mainly our goal. We want to do it with you.
Yeah, great. So thank you guys so much for the inspiration. Please join our SDG ecosystem. I think there will be a link in. Sebastian already did it, so you can join over there if you want. And we're going to share all information that we got, and we were going to inform you on the Richard energy session that will be planned, and we'll be looking forward to see you guys on our next event. So thank you guys, and have a very nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is
Bye.
nice view. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks now. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Giles. You may hang. You may stay. Sorry.